At the T-minus 3-minute mark, tape recorders on board the spacecraft were turned on. These recorders record both voice and data. We have ignition sequence start. The engine's now building up to 7.7 million pounds of thrust. We have a launch commit and we have a liftoff. Moving back. The Saturn V lifting off the power.
This is WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont. 105.9 The Radiator. Good evening. It's the Rocket Shop. I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with me tonight is Antara. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to have you in the studio.
It's so good to be here.
We always like kicking off with a song. So would you like to introduce it and take that first one away?
Absolutely. This first song's called Bumper Sticker, and it's paying homage to trying to live up to some of the bumper stickers I see and some of the bumper stickers I had on my old car. 1, 2, 3, 4. Live simply was a bumper sticker I had on my 89 Pontiac as I drove through the city. I never thought much of it, I just thought it looked cool. It's funny how the truth must burn from all the stuff you've got to learn. And all the people in your life, their struggles and the daily strife. Now they all come free. This might be my destiny. Cherish what I have in you, and you cherish what you have in me. Still is easy and free, but not for me, no, not for me. I gotta go get you, don't miss the magic. Stay up late to stay awake, exhausted all and be enthralled, and pack it up and pack it in to begin again, to begin.
Antara there with Bumper Sticker. So, yeah, once again, thanks for coming in. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name's Antara. Anything beyond that? Just Antara.
I dig the single name. Very
Okay.
memorable. And who have you got with you, Antara?
I'm Chris Cheney on the bass.
Yes. Not Cheney. Cheney.
Cheney. Not to be
Yes.
confused with the guy that shoots people in the face during a hunting trip.
That guy.
If only that was the worst of his crimes.
Agreed, sir. Agreed.
So how long have you two been performing together?
Since college.
Off and on since 2001, I want to say.
Yeah.
We had a 6-year gap, but since '01, we've been
We were mentally there.
evil
though.
twins.
Yeah.
I love it.
My
And,
brother from another mother.
so you've been working for over 20 years in the music industry, putting out songs. I believe I counted 4 albums of work. Is that correct?
Yeah. Couple of compilation-y things, like side projects, and then 3 solo albums, and yeah, things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your key to the longevity?
I think that we really love playing music, and to the point where we quarantined together, and we were like, if I go down, you go down, likewise. We're going to keep practicing.
Practicing every week, no matter what.
Yes.
I love that. Very, very captain's mentality there. So you describe yourself in your bio as a new folk artist. So what to you is a new folk artist, as opposed to I assume, an old folk artist?
Ah, yes. That was a kitschy term a while ago, and it's sort of evolved. It's like new folk is like influenced by alternative music, whereas like old folk is like influenced by when a body meets a body coming through the rye. You know, like all those old traditional folk musics. It's like I grew up listening to alternative rock and punk rock music, and I grab my guitar, I open my mouth, and folk music comes out. So what do you call that? Is it indie rock? Is it new folk? Is it folk? And I've just been stuffed in all of those categories.
In too many pigeonholes. Why do you feel that the like in your soul then is folk as opposed to punk rock or indie? Why is it that when you sit down and write that this folk music comes out?
Because it's pretty much songwriting from human observation and living life, and it's about folks, and when folks step out, the music comes alive, and to me it's rooted in the foundation of the community, as opposed to just kicking out jams and making albums and things like that. So to me, having the folk connection is really all about community.
And well, talking of community, you kind of did grow up in Cincinnati.
I totally grew up in
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
not kind of, absolutely bona fide Cincinnatian. And what was the journey that brought you to Vermont? Was it just Cincinnati and then Vermont, or have you been through other communities on the way?
I have been through other communities along the way, and all of those journeys that I've been on have been because of love. So music came along with me, the guitar travels, but I think the reason for the moves have all been love.
Where else have you lived? Where else have you called your community?
I'm on this creaky floorboard here, and it's really distracting. I have lived in Keene, New Hampshire, and I have lived in Northampton, Massachusetts, and I've briefly lived little pockets of time in Toronto.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And is there any kind of single vein, apart from love, of course, that you felt in each of those communities? And yeah, what about Vermont makes it unique for you?
Well, again, I moved here because of love. But Vermont is unique because on some level, I blend in here. I was such an odd duck in my little hometown. And so it feels good to end up in a community of people who feel like, like the ideals, the farm shares and the grocery stores and the vibe of the city just feels more like me. But I do have strong roots to Cincinnati and strong roots to Keene, New Hampshire, because I met this guy in Keene. So we went to Keene State College together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chris, anything more to say on that?
She said it well. We both come from different places, but I love Burlington as well. We both ended up moving up here from New Hampshire at about the same time because we were coming up here to play gigs at the late 135 Pearl, and we played at Radio Bean, which is still doing it. Leah's still killing it over there. Yeah, we just loved it up here. We came up here to play. We're like, man, this is where it's at. This is the right vibe as friends and musicians. And we had another friend up here that we were playing with, our buddy Nebulae. So we already had musical roots being planted. But yeah, similar thing. I just felt at home whenever I would come into Burlington after being away. I lived out in the Northwest for 6 years and came back. And whenever I come back to visit, my heart just filled up like, this is home to me. Even though I was born and raised in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, it's just always felt right. Burlington always felt right for me.
In terms of collaboration, I often hear that Vermont and Burlington especially is a fantastic place for artists to collaborate. I know you've played with a fair few people. Is there anyone in this town that you'd like to give a shout out to, or anyone that you really like working with around here?
Absolutely. We would give a shout out to the Hedwig crew. We were in the Hedwig and the Angry Inch local production. We were the freaks in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'd give a shout out to Robert Toms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he put it all together. He
Yeah.
was the man with the plan on that one.
Nathan Jarvis and Sean Lipinski.
Adam
and-
Wood,
Yeah, Adam Wood and
Johnny Day.
Johnny Day and Chris Johnston. Yeah, so
Quite a crew.
yeah.
And I also noticed in your bio, and it might be a bit out of date now, but you performed in over 500 venues across the country, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, a few up in Canada as well. What are some of your more memorable ones?
A lot.
Yeah.
There have been a lot.
Yeah, there's been shows where we've played to a ton of people, and there's been shows where we've played to a sound guy. So memorable. It's like when you ask that question, they all leave your brain.
We definitely had some amazing runs of shows in Montreal at Theatre National
Yeah.
with Hedwig.
Mm-hmm.
And Toronto, the big Pride festivals come to mind. It's just talk
Yeah.
about community coming together. That's something to see. Just everyone
Thousands
out
of
in
people.
droves,
Yeah.
families, and just you look out and there's just a sea of people down the street as far as it could go, and everyone just coming together and love getting together.
Yeah. And then people enjoying our music to the point of wanting to get to know us. So then we have friends in little satellite locations. So we gigged so that we can go visit them and have dinner. And so it's like, oh, Liz in Buffalo and, some other folks in Chicago. And, we try to it really centered around the people, just trying to bring the music to the community and surround ourselves with people who really enjoyed what we were doing.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to have another song. So what have you got for us?
Yeah, well, this song sort of speaks to that very point of sometimes we play to thousands of people and sometimes we play to the sound guy. And nobody wants to be a complete zero in life, and everybody is striving to be number one. And the only bummer is that it leaves very little room in between for everybody else. So this song's called Just a Fraction.
Antara with Just a Fraction. So you're pretty prolific when it comes to songs. I read that you've got over 75 recorded, or is that right? Or 75 written? Which is
Probably more than
probably
that by
more.
now. Yeah, COVID really helped us write some new stuff. And we're actually working on another album.
Oh wow! Well, I'd love to get to that just in just a moment. Well, yeah, let's just talk about COVID for a second, because you mentioned before how you two kind of locked yourself away and and kind of decided to quarantine together. So how's COVID affected you as a songwriter, and also how's it affected you as a touring band? Because obviously you're a big fan of performing your own songs and getting in front of crowds, however big and small. So how's this been affecting you as a band?
We're starved. We want to play. We want to play music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit more about this kind of locking yourself away and what this experience has been like for you.
It's been maddening at first.
Yeah.
But then that always makes for good songwriting.
Yeah, yeah. I think, well, obviously with everything going on around you, with sometimes you feel like the world's on fire. I think that kind of evokes certain urgency in you to want to create. I know that I've had time to, like, if we aren't practicing and I'm not working on other music projects I've built this massive practice binder, and my head has been in a chord book. Every chance I get, I'm just trying to study and learn more, which makes me want to write more with my friends that I jam riffs with, you know.
And he brings over little riffs and ditties, and I'm like, ooh, that is a nugget. And then I'll take the nugget, and then I do my COVID mile walk through the community, looking like I'm talking to myself, writing songs and parts and things like that. And then I'm like, dude, remember that bit that we recorded?
Thank goodness we recorded it, because
Here's a song. And the backup part, and the snare drum part, and the... So it's been fun to just create and experiment. And I think we also nerded out with pedals. We purchased a lot of pedals.
nerded.
For those listening, rather than watching, there is a veritable smorgasbord of pedals in front of Chris, at least.
Yeah, our goal was to have this donut-shaped pedal board around us and then just make some noise.
Right. I do not have a problem. I do not have any more than this. I swear. Swear.
I'm actually 2 over, and I have to up my game.
You need to get a bigger board. Chris over there is showing you up.
Yeah, well, yeah, totally.
It's not fun to lift, but once you plug it in, you're like, oh yeah,
Well,
that's what's up.
we were talking about loading in today and how light it was in comparison to when we used to haul our gear down Church Street. And we would bring all the equipment and just have fun and be loud and super technical because we could.
And so it seems like both of you kind of use music in your songwriting, or use kind of your creativity of like creating new licks and little tidbits to kind of process the world around you.
It's therapy, really.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an excellent way to put it. That's the best way to put it.
Well,
really.
when we're both like where we've had a day, we look at each other and we're like, let's just kick out the jams tonight because we need to bang on our guitars and sing loudly. And
feel the air moving through the amps and just
yeah.
yeah.
So my
loud.
neighbors describe our noise as a 1 on the Likert scale out of 10. So this is good.
I was going to say, I hope you've got friendly neighbors who appreciate you working through some things.
Yeah, we have a direct neighbor who goes out on the back deck, cracks a beer, and is like, yeah! So.
That's exactly the sort of neighbors you want.
Yes.
You're number one fans. And in terms of playing live, in terms of being able to get in front of people, how's that been working out for you in COVID? What have you found any ways to kind of get around not being able to play in bars or whatever? Have you managed to find some bars that will take you?
Right now, we just kind of lay low. When I saw the radio show YouTube, I was like, oh, that's something we could do. And I've been playing concerts solo outside, like standing in a field, being by a pool, and everybody has their own sort of COVID rules around what that should look like as far as how far away to be. And so what's cool about that is cranking up the amps, and it's like nobody ever tells me to turn up my amp, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is awesome. So yeah, putting the sound equipment to the test, and definitely just pushing air out into a field. And it's been breezy, and I've worn sunblock, and I've had some pretty crazy photos of me, this, like maybe 2 inches, compared to this massive tree behind me. So, or being around a pool, that was strange.
Yeah, slightly dangerous if any of this equipment kind of falls in.
Yeah, but very cool, and it was like a really excellent way to have live music.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
crafty.
I love this, and hopefully after COVID we'll take a few of these kind of key nuggets that actually did work and were fun, and expand on them, and it'll be interesting to see where music goes, especially live music goes after all of this.
For sure.
So you're kind of an international musician. You've got music playing in apparently Spain and France, Australia, Canada. How do you get yourself on the international airwaves?
Well, digital distribution, and that was back when CD Baby was really thriving, and they did a lot for artists to get digital distribution happening. And it's always interesting to see where the music is going, and who's enjoying it, and to have people find me on social media and be like, hey, I love your music, but I know you'll never make it out, to France or to Australia to play. And I was like, someday. Someday, maybe. So.
Unfortunately, not any day soon.
Yeah.
At the moment, but hopefully at some point. Do you know what? Have they ever kind of got in touch with you and said what kind of resonates with them, with your music, or how they found you at least? I mean, CD Baby, of course, but I mean, I feel like you must be looking pretty specifically to be able to find, folk singer in Vermont.
Right. I've had people say you need cliff notes to hang with my lyrics, because they're so people specific. And so some people like the sound that we have, and some people like the lyrics. Some people like the connections that we've made along the way. And all of it, I've had people say, oh, your music, your recordings put my children to sleep. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's
Thanks,
cool.
thank
But yeah, whether it's lulling children to sleep, or just people who are into eclectic lyrics and maybe non-traditional folk music. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that you've got another album on the way.
Yes.
So let me hear about this. What's been going on there, and how long's it been in the make? How far are you at with this?
Well, COVID came with its sledgehammer and put the brakes a little bit on it. We are so wanting to make it happen. We have the name selected and album art created, and we have our songs. And at this point, it's just getting into the studio and tracking and collaborating with some musicians and backing vocalists and auxiliary folks to try to create the sound that we want to have. Do you want to add to that?
I think you said it very well. Yeah, it's pretty much what a lot of musicians have been facing. Unless you have a studio in your basement and you're an engineer and you can just bust out tracks, you have to be able to get together and record somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that definitely put the brakes on. But we've been still try to stop writing, but we've got a couple more in the can. We're going, ooh, okay, so we're thinking about track order, but yeah, we've got it honed down, and yeah, it's just a matter of getting the other people on board that we want to do as far as drums and various other sounds, maybe some little programming here, keyboards there, and what other kind of vocal arrangements are in your brain, things like that. Yeah.
Well, and Chris brought me a little bit that I was referring to earlier, and we've been having so much fun playing that one and trying to get it ready for the album. It's still in the lab being, worked on. But we're really excited about that one, and we're like, what must be bumped in order, to have this new song sort of come in? Because we're really excited about that one. But
Right. I feel it must be real difficult to even start thinking of new songs right now, just in case you have to rearrange again. And it's I can imagine after having this all so perfectly curated, making the decision to act something must be really difficult.
Well, the last time we made an album, we had a bunch of new songs, and I was like, wait, just one more. And Chris and this other guy named Chris were like, easy, we've got a nice solid album. Let's have that go on the next album.
I was constantly harping on no more than 45 minutes. I don't
Right.
care if you can put 70 on a CD. No one's going to listen that long. Keep it short.
Yeah.
Some old-fashioned album guy over here,
No, it totally makes sense though. I mean, I feel like albums should be enjoyed should be able to be enjoyed in about an hour. Otherwise, it starts becoming
A concept.
yeah. Starts feeling like you're reading the Iliad or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
sometimes it's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
but if you can
that's
hold
what you're
them.
into.
if you can get away with it, I mean, if you've got like a masterpiece in you, then go for it. But you've recorded a lot over your 20 years. I often speak to new bands and bands that just formed or just got in the studio for the first time, and they always come away with like, oh, you learned 1,000 lessons from making this first album, making this first record. After recording, I mean, a lot at this point, when you go back into the studio again, what is it that you're creating that's new, it's different, and what is it that you're like, this is what I'm great at, I'm going to keep that exactly the same?
I would say really listening to your sound engineer who's mastering the album. If they're like, the audible difference is 3 dB, and I think that we should reduce this by 3 dB. Like really listening to those tidbits and reducing volume if that's a suggested thing. Like there was this part I was really stoked about on All the Strays, and I was like, no, I want it louder. And I regretfully did not take that advice, and that bit that I can hear is too loud. And it would have been beautiful had we made those adjustments. So really listening to the sound guy's advice, sound gal, sound person's advice. And also, I would say we've been wanting to express ourselves with more noises, a little bit of a move from a traditional acoustic guitar sound, and get a little bit more alternative with our sound, just because that's within us, and we want to let that out.
Yeah, so that's going to be the new concept on this upcoming album, which is why you need to get all these other musicians to come together for it.
Well, I mean, we're the foundation.
Yeah, it's more. I think us because usually it's just the two of us. I think exploring the sounds that would come out of us. So anything that's extra would be say, okay, neither of us play the drums, so we have someone do that. But as far as sounds between all of our gizmos and gadgets and our love of legends like Brian Eno, or in my case crazy bass players like Doug Wimbish, making it sound like, yeah, that's a bass or that's a guitar, but it can do so much more. And it's not a new concept by any means. People have been doing it for ages, but
Yeah.
we've always wanted to evoke that, and just naturally it's coming out more and more, which is really exciting, you know.
Yeah, just sort of a nod to our roots, rather than trying to, I don't know.
Fit into what people think would be singer-songwriter, folk duo
Category, yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I love that. Well, it's about all we've got time for, but would like to finish with the last song.
Okay.
But before you get going with that, is there anything we should be looking out for? Where can we find your music? Obviously, you got this new album coming out. So, yeah, what's up and coming for you that you would love people to kind of pay attention to?
I'm not up on social media just because it feels poisonous these days. So I've purposefully been taking more and more space from that. But I am trying to stay true to one source, which is my Facebook page, which is where my people tend to be. I think I have an Instagram account, but I can't remember anything about it, which is hilarious and beautiful at the same time. And so Antara is my Facebook page, and that's where you can find out what Chris and I are doing. And we are standing on the edge of the pool of leaping into another recording. And as soon as things lift and get a little bit more user-friendly in this world, and people feel comfortable and safe again, we will make that album. And it's here. It just needs to manifest in the physical form.
Awesome. Well, we really look forward for listening to it, and please come back in again when you got that out. We'd love to promote it for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, one last song. What have you got for us?
This song was a contender for.
This was the one where you're like, I got this one. Like, no, we're done. And then
Yeah, this one was the contender for the last album, and it was like, no, wait, we're done. And so this song I wrote while walking down Church Street, and it really speaks to a lot of what's happening these days. It speaks to a united pain, and when we can sort of manifest this present moment, like right now, this guitar, this friend, this song, this is what we have control over right now. This is where we find our happiness. And when we can put forth that happiness and see beyond the things that are devastating and making us so sad, we will indeed be enlightened and quite blissful. So this song is called Rains and Mazes, and I did write this song cruising down Church Street in the pouring rain. So he can attest to that, because I showed up at the door and I was soaking wet and I was mumbling the lyrics, and you were like, oh my God.
what's wrong with you?
So, yeah. Sometimes music comes in the form of insanity because times are insane. So, Rains and Mazes, sending this out to the community. Let's have a little volume. Here we go. Everybody crying at the same time. I walked right through and took my time. Let the rain fall upon me to clear my mind. And it rains and mazes, don't know which way to find. You people stand in the way, walk right in front. I won't cry rain with unknown disdain, a collective sadness, a united pain, walking in the rain, looking for change, looking for change, looking for change.
Antara there, playing us out with Rains and Mazes. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Really
This was
appreciate
awesome.
it.
Oh, not a problem. And again, come back in again once the album's been released.
Yes.
So tune in next week. We're going to have Todd Moses coming into the studio to talk about his music. So catch us then, same time, same place, 105.9 The Radiator. This has been at The Rocket Shop. I have been your host, Tom Proctor, and good night.